I think I'm record this. Everything we think is always small. We need to just stop that whole notion that we can only do this. This country, we have people who are actually planning to get people to Mars as we speak, right? Colonize Mars. And we're here still trying to figure out how to feed ourselves and carry on our everyday lives. And it's because of the way that we have been thinking. And that's what we definitely need to change. So this whole approach is that we're going to have 50 cities built, right? And these 50 cities are going to be built across 27 states. And I think that the handout I sent you, you can see what states we're going to have multiple. So if you see the colored states are the ones in which we're going to have the cities. And these cities are going to be of three major designs. The first design is the hibiscus design, which is meant for families, but not just any families. It's families who have some connection to the leadership structure, the new leadership structure that we're going to have. And I'm pretty sure you saw it as well in the presentation where the first group was African-American military leaders. So we want African-American military families. The second group is billionaires, businessmen, and celebrities. We want them there as well. The next group is kind of out of order. That's not a hierarchy. The next group will be Black professionals, the doctors, the lawyers, the vets, you name it. If you're in a profession, we want you there. This is kind of like getting all the best of the best to live in one place. Does that make sense? The next group is going to be your teachers and your coaches. All right, they're going to be the ones that have the direct contact with our kids on a day-to-day basis, and they're going to be able to get our message to them the fastest and know who needs what help the most. Right, and we need them because they are the ones that's in contact with their kids the most of anyone in that particular leadership organization. The last group is going to be Black fathers. We have been under attack by our own government for years to eliminate men from the families. And we are going to reverse that by making, hold on for a second. Okay, Lawyer, I got your message. I'm trying to unmute you. If you can, then that's fine. Just send me a text and we'll go from there. All right, so we are going to condition in Black fathers' mind that if you are a father, whether you like it or not, you're a leader. You are a leader. You are a Black leader. You have a responsibility to lead. It's not a government's job. It's not a teacher's job. Your job is to lead. At a minimum, every black father is going to understand and start thinking that I am no longer who I used to be. I am now a leader and I need to act like it. So we're going to have events to basically coalesce Black fathers together and ensure that they lead. But those are going to be the main people that will be comprised of the first city, which is going to be called the hibiscus cities. And that's going to be for leaders pretty much 36 years and younger, or if you're older and really want to be a part of it, you have to be a part of the leadership structure. The other two cities are a little bit unconventional and very interesting because they're made for young men and young women. So one of them is going to be called the Phoenix Club City. I'll show you these designs later. It makes sense. These are built for African-American men or boys and men between the ages of 18 and 27 years old. The reason for this is, so that city is going to be 70% male, 30% female. There's going to be another city called the Leona Sulfina cities, which should be 70% female and 30% male. I'm going to describe the reason for the Phoenix cities first. We need to groom our young men to be leaders, and we need to control the environment in which they grow up in. We also need to make sure that they're given everything they need to succeed and they're surrounded with nothing but successful adolescents, just like they are. so that there is the odds of having a negative influence is almost 100% prevented in right. The females, and we want to give females the opportunity to be whatever they want to be without having to worry about men holding them back. We want to give females or women, I say females because you have girls, ladies, and women, right? So it's going to be the whole gambit. So my daughter, for example, I want my daughter to be whatever she wants to be without having to worry about, male or men hold them back or any kind of societal glass ceilings. So these cities will be led by women at all times. These cities will comprise of two major groups, very successful women, the best of the best, not just from the United States, but from the world. So you talk about, successful CEOs or businesswomen or doctors or scientists. We're going to get them all in one place so that our daughters can have nothing but great examples to look up to for their role models. They're going to see them every single day. It's also going to serve as our entertainment district, and they're also going to be our fashion district. So we're going to get all the beautiful Black women that we have in the United States and the Caribbean in these locations as well. And this is where we're going to have a whole lot of, it's going to be our Las Vegas for one part, and also where all our successful women are. So we anticipate that we're going to have the most female CEOs of any country or any organization in the world. Because the way in which we're going to do it, there's certain companies that has to be led by nothing but females. All right. So if it's a company that deals with, for example, anything concerning babies or infants, we want that to be run by women. Okay. If it's going to be a car seat company, it's going to be a female CEO. If it's going to be something that has to do with maybe, cereal or baby food or anything that is maternal in any way, no matter what it is, it's going to be run by women. Okay. That's just some of it. There are a lot of other avenues that women are going to be in, not just maternal things. They're going to have things that are going to be in the science field, things that are going to be in the medical field that we want them to also head up and run as well. But our goal is to let our young daughters know that they can be anything they want to be in this system. And this will be the only system that's designed to have no hindrance whatsoever for them to be what they want to be. And they're going to have numerous role models to basically see every single day that is possible. And we're going to make sure that no man stands in the way of what they want to be. And that's kind of like the whole point of that city. These cities, however, are not permanent cities. They're transitional cities, meaning that after the age of 30, they will have to leave the city and go back to the general population. And this is to make way for new people, because each city can only facilitate around 50,000 people, right? And that's the biggest downfall, is that we can only facilitate 50,000 people per city. So 50,000 times 50 is 2.5 million. The population in the United States right now for African Americans, depending on what census or stats you look at, is between 40 and 43 million. All right. So if you use 40 million as the number, that means there are 37.5 million people that still will not be able to benefit that much from these 50 cities that we're going to create. And that's why we have to do the African American veteran city halls to serve the remaining 30 million. So that is the 5-year plan. And the way in which we're going to acquire the land for all these cities is that we're just going to buy land that's about 100 acres. 100 acres of land is always available all over the place. Available for like 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, or whatever it is. It doesn't need to be that big. As you can see behind me right here, this is actually a 3D model of what I sent to you guys. All right, so I'm going to go over this in another presentation, but I already have it pretty much already figured out how it's going to be. And we're going to discuss that more later. All right, the overarching philosophy I told you just now. So that's basically what it's going to look like 2027. 2027, we're going to have, these cities are going to have their own governments as well. I'm pretty sure you saw that on your thing. we're going to have, every city is going to be ran by a mayor. Every city is going to be, so our mayor, which is going to basically be our own thing, independent of the United States government. We just, it's kind of like like Google or Facebook, right? They have their own internal leaders. We're going to have our own internal leaders as well. Hold on for a second. Hey Ken, I see you. Let me see if I can unmute you. I don't think you have a microphone, but that's fine. I know you're listen. So welcome to the presentation again. I'll get you caught up. So essentially, we're going to have our own leaders, like I said, and the leadership structure is going to be very unique. It's going to be a very unique system. It's not going to be a democratic system. It's going to be a system that I created called the KJC and LME. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically the leaders of the organization are nothing more than contractors. All right. We're going to have a set of goals that we want them to achieve, and we're going to hire them. If they meet whatever goals that we have, so LME stands for lag, meet, or exceed, and that's how we're going to grade it. So let's say, for example, Wes, let's say, for example, I hire you as the leader. You are going to be the mayor of the city in Atlanta. That's where you are right now, right? Right? Okay, cool. So the military leaders within Atlanta will come up with a number of goals for each department, right? And they're going to be 5 major departments, and the 5 departments have another 5. So you're going to have a whole lot of people below you, right? You're going to be graded on a fixed time scale. It could be quarterly, or it could be semi-annually, on how you're achieving these goals, right? And if you meet the goal, your score is 0. Your LME score is 0. If you exceed the goal, your LME score is 1.
Got it.
If you don't meet the goal, your LME score is -1. So you have 3 possible scores, right? Either you meet the goal, you exceed the goal, or you don't meet the goal, right? You're going to have a number of things. So we're going to basically tally up all your scores. If your overall score is 0 or higher, you keep your job. If your overall score is less than 0, you don't keep your job. Or you might be in a probationary period, depending on if something happened that was out of your control, like
right.
hurricane or whatever it is, right? But it doesn't matter. You could be my best friend, and I could know you from a long time ago. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many babies you kiss. It doesn't matter how well you talk, right? Now, if every year your LME score is 0 or higher, right, and you maintain your job, you keep your job. So you can borrow for years as long as you're doing this. So all you have to do is do your job. You have one job, which is do your job. People could not like you, as long as at the end of the day you are getting the job done, you keep your job. And it's really that simple. And the way in which, so I'll go more into that, but that's basically what it is. It's a very simple system, and it's no nonsense, right? And the criteria, there's certain departments that cannot be negative, right? And you cannot be negative in more than 20% of the departments. So you can't get in the system and be like, okay, I'm gonna just knock the ball out of the park here and drop the ball over here, right? You cannot have more than 20% in a negative. And that's basically how the system works. All right, so that is what the government looks like. And like I said, they're gonna be 27 states, which means that they're gonna be 27 governors. Above a governor, you have what's called a major governor. A major governor is normally in charge of 2 states. There are going to be 8 districts. The district of, I think it's Florida, Louisiana. There's one that has 4 states. These districts are ran by a chief governor, right? So you're going to have a mayor, a governor, a chief governor, and then above the chief governor, you're going to have the president. This is going to be for the operational side of the government. There is an administrative side of the government that is run by ministers. There's going to be a total of 25 ministers. Right? And there are going to be 5 major departments. There's Department of Wisdom, Department of Energy, Department of Love, Department of Unity, and Department of Sacrifice. And that's based on a bigger philosophy called We Loop. I'll explain to you in another presentation, not right now. But it's going to be a very comprehensive government that tackles every part and every facet of our lives in terms of what we need as a people. And these are the things that the United States government cannot provide for us. We would have to march for 1,000 years, would have to vote for 1,000 years to even achieve anything remotely close to what we're going to achieve by this, right? And all these things are not like fairy tale stuff that, okay, that's pie in the sky. And I'm going to tell you why. Everything we do, we're going to do it twice. If you ever, anything that's created is created at least twice. Once in the mind, and then in reality. The guy who made this first envisioned this or drew it somewhere and then made it a reality. Does that make sense? We're going to do something very similar with this. In other words, everything that we do, we're going to create a virtual representation of it. Because we're going to have kickbacks, we're going to have delays, we're going to have permits not being approved and so forth. But we can create a virtual city hall where on the computer, you can log in and we have all the departments filled out. We have someone assigned. They can't stop that, right? As for the city, we can choose our government before we even have a city. We can choose, I can say you are the mayor. I can give you responsibilities before we even have the physical location. So we're gonna do everything virtually at first so that everyone starts seeing this as the way, as the option. Right? That's one thing they can't stop. They can't stop the idea. They're not going to stop. They can delay it. Right? We can be delayed, but we can't be denied. Okay? We can be delayed, but we can't be denied. And we're just going to keep pushing it. But once the idea is out there, this is going to be the new approach. So this is the vision. Now, I want to talk about something a little bit more controversial. 634 global. The number one problem facing us as a people is a direct result of a system that was created, right? Racism is a system. It's an order. It's a world order that puts them up here and put us below everybody, right? That's basically what it is. It's not about, it's basically a world order. Well, we're going to disrupt this world order by removing ourselves from it. And here's how we're going to do it. I want you to look at it more like a seesaw. Seesaw is normally like this. So basically, if you're on that side and we're on, basically this is a seesaw, right? We are in a state like this, right? Where they have the power and they have everything in their control. We're doing everything as per their system, their way, their economy, their everything, right? So now, basically, everyone is trying to go over here because this is where all the power is. Okay. What we're going to do to correct this is create our own system and attract our own people back to our own system to achieve balance. We are in the United States military, building the United States military. We're in companies, building their companies. We're taking our talents and we're bringing it over here. We're not bringing it over here because we don't have anything over here to build it to. If you are a doctor and you have anything of an idea to cure anything, you're going to do it under some guy's name, under his company, right? Because we don't have our own hospitals. We don't have our own airports. We don't have our own everything. So all our talents are going over here. Does that make sense? So we need to create our own system, not fighting, not complaining, not doing it. We're just going to create our own and take our talents this side. Once we started doing this, whatever they do over here is almost irrelevant, right? You have your banks, we have our banks. You have your schools, we have our schools. You have your hospitals, we have our hospitals. You have your pharmacists, we have our pharmacists. You have your justice system and police, we have our own justice system and security. We don't need you, right? The only thing we need from the government is our money back. That's it. We're going to give you 50% because we use your roads and we use your bridges. That's it. We're going to build our own schools. We're going to build our own hospitals. Black problems is our problem, not yours. If our kids are failing, it's because we're not leading, because we're not teaching, right? Not because the government is not giving us money. It's because we're not leading. If our communities are broken, it's because we're not leading, right? Everything, if we are 100% the problem, then we are 100% the solution. And that's the goal. We need to be 100% the solution, and we got to take responsibility for everything that is wrong and point every finger back at ourselves. And that's basically what this is. And in order to do this, we're going to change 3 things. Let's talk about the past. The 6 P's of mental slavery. This part is the most controversial part that people are afraid to tackle. I'm going to tell you how crazy this is. I sent you guys a picture that says the 6 P's of mental slavery. Did you guys see that? Right? I tried to get a billboard made in Jamaica with that same image, that exact image. They would not do it. They refused to take my money to make a billboard with that image on there. Right? I sent it to my friend to post it in a Facebook chat so they could discuss it. He said, you know what? I posted it, but guess what? When I came back, he said 3 people left the chat. Okay? We're mentally paralyzed by these people. We are so we can't even discuss the preacher. We can't discuss religion. If you do, it's like, oh, no. That's a big no. I have to get out of here. And the more I see that, is the more I know that I'm onto something right with this 6 P's. It's true. We are truly afraid to talk about these things. We are truly afraid to say, you know what? How did we get here in the first place? Did we choose these things, or were they chosen for us? Are they benefiting us? Right? Where is the results? I can see the results for them. I can't see the results for us. Right? Why are we on this path when we don't have any results to prove, right? So it's very controversial, and I'm not going to force anybody to think anything. I understand that these things are the foundation of the society, but we're going to do something different. So I'm going to go through the 6 P's very quickly, and if you guys have your viewpoints, I want to hear it, but understand that it's controversial. But it's something that the more I hear people shy away from it, is the more I realize it needs to be brought up. All right. So the number one thing that's holding us back as a people is not racism. The number one thing is poverty. Number one thing is poverty. No matter how smart you are, no matter how brilliant you are, if you don't have money, you won't be able to bring your ideas to life. You won't be able to build. These guys are building apps and they're raising $100 million, right? First round fundraising. What person is going to be able to, how can we compete with these people when they're starting off like this, right? We're talking about small business that you're competing with Amazon, right? You're competing with these big guys. How are you going to make it? You're not. Do you know how much advertising costs on Facebook to really do a really good campaign? You're starting to really, these guys are spending millions of dollars a year, and you're spending $2,000 a month and think you're competing. It's a joke, right? Capitalism works. Capitalism works for those who have capital, right? Capitalism works for those who have capital. If you don't have capital in capitalism, you have nothingism. All right. If you don't have capital in capitalism, you have nothingism. If you were to do a percentage success rate of capitalism, basically, if you are at the very bottom, you can understand that capitalism combined with a class system is a problem. The class system is designed to keep people in certain tiers. It's definitely designed to keep Black people at the bottom. right? It is designed for us to be in a group that's called a proletariat. The proletariat class is a class of people from ancient Rome. So they've done this to themselves before, so they didn't know how to do it to us. Proletariat is a group of people that's only good for two things. They're only good for their labor and their kids, right? So what are we supposed to do in the society? We are supposed to work menial jobs and have kids. And our kids are supposed to work menial jobs and have kids. Does that make sense? We're supposed to do the jobs that they don't want to do. Capitalism needs us. That's the only reason why they need us. They need us to do integrate and do all kind of stuff. It's not because they want us to be equal. It's because without us, capitalism can't work. Who's gonna serve all the burgers, right? Who's gonna do all the lower wage jobs? Not them. They're too lazy for that. They need us for that. That's the only thing. And when you go above that, right? How many times have you seen these rappers getting pulled over for gun charge, right? When you see all these guys on protests having guns left and right, no one's ever checking their IDs to see if they have a felony, right? These guys are walking with AR-15s and protesting. No one cares to say, "Hey, let me see some IDs here. Let me see if you guys," right? They don't like it when you go beyond that, right? Once you go beyond that certain part, they don't like it because you're not supposed to, right? Now, here is how the system is maintained. It's maintained through what I call a testimonial. Here's how it goes. Capitalism, for those at the bottom in the proletariat class, has a 1%. You have a 1% chance of making it, which means that 1 out of 100 people will end up being not only be. When I say make it, I mean go beyond the middle class, right? Because it's really designed for you to either go up one class or come down one class. So, in fairness to capitalism, not everyone's going to be a millionaire. You can make it to the middle class, right? But above that, it's not really designed for you to go that. 1% will make it all the way. Okay, that means out of every 100 people, 1 will make it. Out of every 1,000 people, 10 will make it. Out of every 10,000 people, 100 will make it. Out of every 100,000 people, 1,000 will make it. Out of every 1 million people, 10,000 will make it, right? So okay, log in. Where is he? Hold on for a second. All right. Right. So for every 1 million, 10,000 will make it, right? So when I say make it, I mean become a millionaire. Okay. Now we have 40 million people here, right? Which means 400,000 people, African Americans, can become a millionaire. Does that sound good? You can shake it up in it, right? It does, right? Right? 400,000 millionaire African Americans, it cannot be the system. It has to be you. Because I'm looking at 400,000 people who started from nothing and they made it. Look at Oprah Winfrey. Look at Kevin Hart. Look at Jay-Z. It's not the system that's the problem. It is you that is the problem. You are the one that's failing, not the system. But guess what? It is still 1%. 99% is still not going to make it. And that's how they do it to maintain the system. Because you're looking at the fact that Jay-Z made it, Kevin Hart made it, and he came from nothing. So what's your excuse? You have no excuse, right? And that's how they maintain the system, because people look at it that way. But they know 99% that you're never going to freaking make it, right? Now, conversely, let's look at the guy at the top who is rich. What are the odds of him failing? Less than 1%. He doesn't even need to go to school and succeed. Look at all those guys on Shark Tank, right? Those guys could be dumber than a box of rocks. They're going to be rich forever because they have people with ideas coming to them and they say, here's my money, give me back. I want 30% of what you own. I want 30. They do nothing. They don't have to do anything. They will never fail. They could be drugged out of their minds. They're never going to fail. Capitalism, and this is the last thing about capitalism. Capitalism is about individual pursuit. Every man for himself, every woman for herself, right? It's about everybody. We're in this rat race, and everybody is just trying to be. You know, it's all about me, 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 me. Our problem as a people is a collective problem. You cannot solve a collective problem with individual pursuits. It doesn't matter. I don't know if you read the headlines recently, but Kanye West is worth $6.6 billion. Did you guys see that? Kanye West is a rich man ever in the United States. First of all, I want to congratulate that guy because he came from nothing. But how ridiculous does that even sound, right? But do you think that makes a difference in my life or my kids' life or any of our lives? No, not one. Because he has the capitalistic mindset. And the capitalistic mindset is this. I made it on my own, right? It was me and my friends and my family. So my only obligation is to A, take care of myself, take care of my friends, and take care of my family. And that's as far as it goes. And we are celebrating these guys' success through tokenism, right? So we have a token. Oh, look at us. We're doing well because Kanye West is a billionaire. Jay-Z is a billionaire. While the 99% is still stagnated. Is still in that class that, you know, is basically where they want us to be. We have to depart from the capitalistic mindset and we have to adopt collectivism. No more black capitalism, black collectivism. If we come together with our resources. So in other words, imagine if all the NBA players had a meeting and we came together and we said, you know what we're going to do? We're behind you. The military leaders say that we're going to lead the cities. We need you guys to pay for it. LeBron James is like, you know what? I'm for it. I'm going to get the Lakers to get behind all the cities in California, right? The Miami Heat in Florida, the Atlanta Hawks, Georgia, right? The football teams. Who is for Atlanta again in football? Atlanta Falcons, right? So Falcons and the Hawks team up to fund the operations in Atlanta, right? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Dolphins, and Jaguars, and the Miami Heat come together for Florida, right? LA Dodgers, LA Lakers, LA Rams come together and say, we're going to fund this, right? And it's not like donation. They're going to own these buildings, own stock ownership in everything that is built. So that once the building goes up, their wealth goes up. How much further would we be as a people? Do you guys think? Miles ahead. Miles ahead. Right? I've been talking a lot right now. You want to see anything, Wes? Go ahead.
It just came to mind that, you know, based on what you just said, a lot of that support would be coming from the masterminds of capitalism. You understand what I'm saying? So, and they would definitely be wanting to see, you know, what is the return on their investment, which
Yes.
in terms, I think that could be counterproductive, you know, possibly be counterproductive if the narrative that we're pushing doesn't fit their narrative. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I'm glad
Possibly.
you said that.
Just possibly.
Capitalism is, like I said, capitalism is not all bad. It's all bad when you're poor. Does that make sense? So here's how what you just said is something that I've factored in. Living in Japan and doing business in Japan, I learned that there are a lot of rich Japanese who have a lot of money and have no idea what to do with it, right? Let's say, for example, we teamed up with the Japanese. They 100% don't care about our struggle. 100% that is okay, right? All they care about is, if I give you $1 million, can you give me back 1.2 million in X amount of time? And can you do it in a venture that is very low risk? If the answer is yes, yes, and yes, they will give you the money. I am okay with that version of capitalism. I don't need everybody to be a part of the struggle, right? Some people don't care about us, and I'm okay with that. We need the money, and we're going to build this, and we're going to make you a return on your money. That's basically it. Okay, hold on for a second. This thing cuts out sometimes. Am I back yet? Okay, cool. I'm back. Okay. So what I was saying was, if they give us $1 million and we give them $1.2 million back in, say, 5 years, right? 20% gain. A lot of these guys have their money sitting in banks making 1% per year. That's nothing, right? They're just have their money sitting back, not making anything. So if you can do that and make them 1.2 million, right? Even 1.3 or even 1.5, and you have another plan, you can definitely go back to them again and say, I need 5 million for this stuff. And you give them back, so they give them 5 million, give them back 7 million. That guy is your new bank. That guy is your new bank. And that's what we need to do with countries like, those big oil countries like Dubai and those guys. They have money. We don't need to tell them our problems. Our problems are our problems, not theirs. Don't tell them to help us because of humanity or whatever it is. Stop that nonsense. These guys are businessmen, and they're about capitalism. You gotta know when to turn the capitalism switch on and off. You have to play the game. You are in the game. But mentally, you have to know where and when to play, right? You gotta know when your team has the ball, you play offense. When the other team has the ball, you play defense. You gotta understand when to switch. You don't constantly play offense the entire game. That's not how it works. You have to read the game, read the field, and play accordingly. So I'm actually okay with that, even amongst our own people. Let's say the NBA players are like, man, I want to return on my money. I'm like, okay, we're going to make sure we get a return on your money, because I know success begets success. If you give me $10 million and I give you back 12, I know the next time I come to you, you are telling me yes, because I've established a reputation. And that's basically how you got to go about this stuff. You have to understand that, listen, that your problems are your problems. If you want other people to be helping you, you have to look at how it benefits them and somewhat play the game, But when I say black collectivism, I'm not saying necessarily that that those guys need to give up anything. They just need to invest together on one common vision, under one vision, basically. All right, so that's for capitalism. All right, the next P on the list is preachers, which basically, we never chose Christianity. Okay, Christianity was a result of slavery. The number one tool of slavery was not physical, it was mental, right? And the number one thing that they used to hold us mentally is basically Christianity. I am a preacher's son, okay? I'm a preacher's son. And I'm telling you right now, as a preacher's son, this philosophy is not for us, okay? It's for them, and that's great, that's fine, right? Japanese, they think for themselves. The Chinese, they think for themselves. The Koreans, they think for themselves. The Arabs, they think for themselves. Even the Jews don't follow this philosophy, right? And they were there before Jesus, they're doing Jesus, and they're not doing this stuff, right? I understand this stuff is controversial, but as a people, we need to have a debate and ask ourselves this: is Christianity a blessing or a curse for Black people? We have to. It's uncomfortable. No one wants to discuss it. Oh, I have the right to my religion. Is it really your religion? No, it's not. It's not your religion. Your religion was stolen from you, right? So they're saying, oh yeah, my language is English. Yeah, you speak English, but is English really your language? You know, my last name is this. Is that really your last name? Why did Malcolm X change his name? Because that was not his name, right? So we have to have independence in thought. We have to also understand that tradition is dangerous. Tradition is not always a good thing. Our parents had less information than we did. I spoke to my father about Christianity, who's a preacher, and I told him about my viewpoints. And one of the things he said, among many things, was, you know what's interesting is that you guys had more information than what we did. Everything we knew came from the church or a school. You guys have the internet, you have all this stuff. We never had all that stuff. So don't think for a second that the people above us had more information than we do. We are the ones with the information. And it's up to us to have the hard conversation, make the tough decision for our kids. We can't simply pass this on and on and on and on and on. If it's true, it will survive any debate we have. If it's legit, it will survive anything, right? There's no one defending the sun or gravity. There's no one saying, okay, don't talk about gravity because, you know, why do we have to defend something that is true? You cannot, in order for you to deceive, you need two things, right? Well, you need one thing actually. You need anyone that's deceiving needs a believer. Without a believer, you can't deceive, right? Am I still here? Oh, this connection is gone. Am I back now? Good. Okay. In order for you to deceive, you need to have believers. Deceivers need believers. Like, it has to go hand in hand. If no one is believing, you can't deceive. Does that make sense? What is the number one thing that they teach you to do in church? To do what? Believe. They have to. They have to tell it, because the moment you start thinking and questioning things, oh, no. The whole thing falls apart. The Jenga falls apart. Don't question it. Don't question it. Believe faith, believe faith, believe faith. No. We are going to disrupt this entire cycle. And we're going to have a solid debate about Christianity, and we're going to go through the history of Christianity, right? How can you have an organization that has done so many evil to humanity claim to be a good organization? How is it that we're following this system when we know it doesn't make any sense, right? Well, more importantly, preachers are not leaders. Preachers are not leaders. They were chosen for us by our enemies to do one thing, to keep us as good slaves, right? Don't rebel, right? Long suffering, be poor, don't be rich, don't worry about earth, focus on heaven. That's why they were chosen. If you go to a speech today with Black people and you go on stage and say, hi everyone, my name is so-and-so, and I just want to let you know I'm a man of God. No? Okay, cool. You get a standing ovation for saying that you're a man of God, right? Here's what you never hear a Black person say, and if you do, it's rare. Hi, my name is so-and-so, and I'm a man of intelligence. Even if you said that, you hear a pin drop. No applause, right? No one's, oh, yeah, I'm a man of intelligence. Oh, look at this guy, full of himself. You know what I mean? Who does he think he is, right? Like, that's our culture. Now, why did that happen? You got to understand that back in the day, if you were Black and intelligent and smart, they would kill you, right? If you read, you get killed for that, right? If you were intelligent, you literally had to act dumb just to be alive. You literally had to play stupid just to be alive. So you can understand that our leaders were never the smart ones. our leaders were never the intelligent ones. So these people that are going around as leaders, we know that they're jokes. We know that they're embarrassment. But they choose their leaders for us, just like they do with Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King is the worst possible leader we could ever have. Worst possible leader. That's why they like him. That's why they like him. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Are you talking to me? Yeah. Okay. So Martin Luther King, you never see the White House have a presentation from Malcolm X. Oh, Malcolm X was a great guy, but no, they almost act like he never existed. I've been in the Navy for 21 years. Not once did I see a Black History Month post that's on there. It's like the guy never even lived. It's like he never even existed. If I can choose your leader, I can choose your path. If I can choose your path, I can choose your destination. If I can choose your destination, I control your destiny. They have always chosen our leaders. There is no reason why African American military leaders shouldn't have an institution to lead Black people. They know that we are way better leaders than preachers. Do you really think they want that? No. You're gonna really get some things done. You're gonna really solve our problem. Yeah, exactly. So we need to replace preachers. They can do whatever they want to do. But African American military leaders, we are the new leaders, right? And this is basically team mindset, not team skin. A lot of people, they're gonna be like, nope, I'm staying with blah, 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 don't be a part of it. And that's okay. We don't all have to unite because we're never gonna unite. They're so good at dividing us, we might as well just give up on that. But if you are of the same mindset, if you're on this mindset, we'll come on this side. We're doing this. We don't need to fight. We don't need to argue. Like I said, my whole family, I don't even argue with them. You're going to church, I'll be here at home, right? You go to church, I'll be here at home. I don't need to argue with all these people. Okay. I think I lost one person. Yeah, so we need to replace the current leadership. So no more civil rights movement. The civil rights movement, for as far as I'm concerned, is over. All right. The fact that we're in 2021 and we are arguing for civil rights in the land of the free just tells you that this whole thing is a joke. The whole thing is a joke. All right. We are going to go on a path that is different. And I'll tell you what the 4 Aces are later. Okay. After the preachers, next thing is the press. All right, the media has been finding the worst of the worst to represent us ever since they can. Right? If you do this as a homework, go on Fox News or any news and just don't look at the articles. Just look at the faces that are Black and look at the headlines. Right? 9 times out of 10 is negative. If it's positive, you have to find it on page 3. Right? If you win an award, never makes it to the news, but go ahead and commit a crime. They find your high school pictures and put up of you. They'll find it in 24 hours. I have inventions. I have ideas. I call these guys all the time to do an article on my invention. Nope, no response. But let me kill somebody. Let me kill somebody. They go to Jamaica to find my information. We need to, one, black out these guys for who they are. They're not on our side. That includes CNN and MSNBC. But we need to have our own media. We need to tell our own stories. And the one way we're going to do this is that at these city halls, once we build these city halls, we're going to have what's called syndicates. A syndicate is an event that is going to be recorded and played on our version of YouTube. And a good example of the syndicate is a good example of a syndicate would be black female CEOs, right? So San Diego will interview 5 black female CEOs. Atlanta will do 5, and so forth. We will do all of that over a 5-day period. Let's say, for example, we're going to do it from April 12th to April 17th. We're going to have the syndicate to discuss For Black female CEOs, do the three things: inspire. So it's gonna be ICE, right? Inspire, challenge, and what was ICE again? Inspire, challenge, and I think it was educate. But anyway, so you would find someone who's a successful female businesswoman in your area and do a presentation. Then you submit that to our own network like YouTube. What do you think that would do for our daughters when they can go online? Remember, there's gonna be 5 in San Diego, 5 in Atlanta, 5 in all, like almost 500 different women telling their stories. How ridiculous would that be? That you're seeing all these people tell their stories as Black successful professionals doing it and doing it well. Do this thing again for men, right? So we are now showing our kids, listen, man, don't even watch that stuff. Full-time watch the watch the we're gonna call it, I'm gonna find a name for it. But people like myself need to have a channel. People like you need to have a channel. People like her need to have, everybody, we need to basically be telling, not complaining, but telling our stories of success. So we can draw out the negative, because that's how you create the stereotype, because you're only showing one side of us. When you show both sides, then you know you have both sides of the spectrum. Okay? All right, the next one is basically politicians. All right, I know I'm not supposed to say this. I know, especially in the military, we're supposed to defend freedom and democracy around the world. Democracy is not for us. Okay? It's not for us. I'm gonna tell you why it's not for us. Number one, democracy is not about majority rule or majority choose. Number one, we're not even the majority, we're in the minority anyway. Right? So we'll never get what we want. How many times did we march last year to get the police, the justice system reformed, and nothing happened? If anything, these guys were emboldened to kill us more, right? How many times have we voted to have laws passed and nothing happens, right? We have been voting and we have been believing and we have been doing all this kind of things. Democracy is not for us. We need to have our own leadership that is basically at, not say our beck and call, but all they have is our own interests at hand. And I think I can discuss that earlier. We do need to tear apart democracy because we have to as a form of harm reduction. But we have to understand that democracy, no matter how much we vote, these guys aren't going to do anything for us. Lawmakers don't do anything but just pass laws. Laws are not going to solve all our problems. Our problems are deeper than that. All right, the next one is going to be the justice system, the police, which is self-explanatory. Not going to be the horse on that one. The last one is the past. We need to let the past go. Just let it go. Good or bad, let it go. Let it go for like 20 years and just focus on the future. Stop talking about how great this guy was or how great we were, or the first woman to do this and the first woman to do that. Just let it go. We need to be obsessed with the future. And here's why. Time is broken down into 3 parts, like I said: the past, present, and future. Which one can we definitely not change? The past. Which one we spend all our time talking about? The past. It doesn't make any sense. We need visionaries. We need people who are big thinkers and dreamers. And we need to get behind them. Okay? We need to get behind them. If we are going to talk about the past, we need to talk about it on our terms. We need to talk about our success, but even our success is irrelevant, right? They say, well, if you don't know where you're coming from, then you don't know where you're going. Yeah, no GPS has ever said that. Has your GPS ever said that? Has the GPS ever asked you where you're coming from? I don't know where you're going because I don't know where you're coming from. No. All you need to know is where you are, right, and where you're trying to head to, and plan accordingly.
Let me just interrupt for 1 second, Drew. Now sometimes my Siri do act like that. Now I'm gonna just say that. I want to throw that out there. Sometimes my Siri does act like that.
Wait, come from what? No way. Okay, that's funny, man.
My bad. I just had to throw a joke in there. Probably bad timing, but I just had to throw a joke in there.
Okay, that's good. All right. So there's more to the 6 Ps, but I want to jump over to the 3 E's. So the 3 E's is basically what we need to focus on today. And the 3 E's are environment, economy, and education. Environment, economy, and education. Environment means we 100% have to be in control of our environment. To achieve anything, that's number one. The number one solution to our problem is that we have 100% control of the environment. And the only way to have 100% control of the environment is to build our own cities. That's the only way. Las Vegas was built in the middle of the desert. And Las Vegas is the most, successful entertainment city. So you can't have a successful city in the desert. Egypt was built in the middle of the desert, right? The greatest ancient city of all time. Dubai was built in the middle of the desert. As a matter of fact, Saudi Arabia is building a brand new city in the middle of the desert. We have a lot of open land in this country that's very close to highways. We need to go there and we need to build our own cities. If we do that, we immediately get rid of the drug problem. We immediately get rid of the gangs. We immediately get rid of all this stuff that is just entrenched in our society. Once you move the leaders in, we have full control. The moment you build a city in the middle of nowhere, you automatically create an economy. It's like having an aircraft carrier in the middle of the ocean. An aircraft carrier is its own city and its own economy. You have to buy from the store on the ship. You have to use the resources. So it forces us to rely on each other. It forces us to buy from each other. It forces us to create. It forces us to innovate. It's not about racism. It's about forcing Black people to be self-reliant. And once you do that, that's what you're going to accomplish. You need to have